the Roman Catholic priests had condemned the Old Testament, but Martin Luther condemned the New Testament. So it was a polemic there, you see, until Jacob Van Laersfeld came along and put the Old and the New Testament under one cover. They call it the Old Testament or the Holy Bible.
All right. I just want to drop back a little further. So I'll let you go in a minute, but I gotta get an understanding of this. Then if we're going back to the Coptic Christians, back to the Romans who were supposed to have persecuted Christians and so forth, what was the Coptic Christians preaching and what was Rome preaching and what did Constantine incorporate, so that I get an understanding that it was different from Hebrewism and Judaism and can separate it from a later version of the Bible.
Well, see, here's what you have to do, Clemson. You have to really understand that Judaism is not a BC religion. You have to really understand that.
I understand that.
No?
I'm wiping that out, but I'm just trying to get an understanding of now what would they, because they were doing something before then, because...
Before Rashi?
No. The Romans is supposed to have persecuted Christians.
What year? Starting with who?
Well, starting where the Romans ruled and what...
You're talking about during the time of Constantine?
Yeah, before Constantine.
No, there was no Christianity before Constantine or during the time era of Constantine. See, that's a misnomer. They put it in history. Simply because they are teaching the people who are Christians and the whole entire world through their school system that this Jesus the Christ died in 30, they call it AD.
Correct.
Okay? So therefore, if you come up to the time of Constantine, there's supposed to be Christians there. We're talking about in the 4th century.
Right.
Okay? In the 4th century, there was no Christ, therefore no Christianity, nor a Christian church. You have to understand that. That's in my book also. You only get a Christ in history during the time of the Council of Ephesus. Ephesus is a city, or was a city, in Turkey, in northeast Africa. At the Council of Ephesus in 431 is when you get a Christ. Simply because you have to understand that this Christ image, it was known as Serapis then, it's in my book, was argued that this Serapis image, known today as Jesus Christ, had no human nature. So that argument was between Africans, who are the Melkite Africans, Coptic Egyptians, who were on the side of the Greek Ptolemies and the Roman rulers of Egypt. And you had the grassroots exterior community who were not on the side of the Romans. They would not embrace this religion, or they would not embrace that image that we know today as Jesus the Christ. Okay? So the polemic was that coming from the community of the exterior Coptic religious community, which is the monophysitic community. Monophysites mean a person who says that this Christ had no human nature. Okay? And in order to have a human nature, one has to be born through the body of a female. So what they did at the Council of Ephesus was to go into the ancient Egyptian divine triad. And that triad consisted of Osiris the Father, Isis, the Holy Hathor Cow Mother, and Horus Jr., the S-U-N, the Son. They took Isis, our ancient Egyptian deity, Isis, out of that triad, and they discarded her, and in her place, they created a creature called the Virgin Mary. Giving this created creature, the Virgin Mary, the title of Theotokos. And the word Theotokos means the mother of God. They amalgamated this created creature, the Virgin Mary, with this title, Theotokos, with this created creature, Serapis, now known today as Jesus Christ, and the Melkite Coptic African Egyptians, at that point of amalgamation, said that this image that we know today as Jesus Christ, then known as Serapis, is now the Messiah, A-S. And in Coptic spoken Greek, Messiah means Christos, or today in English, the Christ. So you do not get a Christ prior to the Council of Ephesus in 431 ABCE, and that's in my book. You do not get Christianity as a religion prior to the Council of Chalcedon, 451. That's in my book. Also, you do not get a Christian church. The world's first Christian church was built in Constantinople, Turkey, by Justinian I and his wife Theodora in the year of 532 ACE. Finished 5 years later, 537 ACE. Okay? So during the time of Constantine, or prior to the Council of Ephesus, which was in the 5th century, you have no Christ. Prior to the 5th century, the Council of Chalcedon, 451, you have no Christianity. Prior to the 6th century, you have no Christian church until the Hagia Sophia was created. You see? So all what I have just told you dispel any premise by anybody, I don't care who you are, of any race, creed, or color, how many books you have studied, how many universities you went to. That's dispelled the myth that there was a Christ, Christianity, and a Christian church during the time or before the time of Constantine.
We're getting that now. I love it. Now, we're already back. We got rid of Hebrewism, Judaism, Christianity. But what were they worshiping, practicing before that period?
Who?
With the Africans, and then when the Romans came in. Talk to me a little bit about that. The temples in Egypt, the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians, what were they practicing? And then what was the continuity of that up until this period when the creation of Jesus, and why was that necessary to create this Jesus?
Okay. That's a twofold question.
Yes.
Let's go back during the time of antiquity. The word antiquity means ancient times.
Yes.
There was no religion, no place on planet Earth. You have to realize that. Going back into Africa, you will find the Africans living in the continent of Africa not having a religion, but they had a spiritual way of life that included the ancient Egyptians also. They paid homage to their ancestors. They paid homage to nature. They knew the laws, the cosmic laws of the universe, and they lived their lives according to these various laws of the universe. Okay, this is just a short overview. Then here come the first known European